Tonight, hundreds of discarded shopping trolleys submerged in the Spencer Gulf put swimmers at risk. And a sneak peek inside the walls of Port Pirie's multi-million-dollar sports precinct.
This is Southern Cross News with Abby Donaldson.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. Discarded shopping trolleys submerged in the Spencer Gulf are threatening the safety of swimmers. Approximately 500 trolleys are sitting below the water surface at the Port Augusta wharf, and council says it's now too dangerous for people to jump off the popular swimming spot.
The natural beauty of the Spencer Gulf waters has a troubling artificial reef hiding below the surface. The waters are not only home to a variety of marine life, but 500 shopping trolleys.
I don't think anybody could have actually guessed that number of shopping trolleys that were unfortunately down there in the drink.
The scary statistic comes from a diving report of the waters after concerned community members alerted council to the hazards earlier this year.
Correctly so, someone raised a safety concern and now we need to act on that.
The council says some of the trolleys could be tens of years old and have accumulated due to petty vandals.
Rather than return a trolley to the store, which is right there, or return it to the return trolley bay, which is even closer again, right there, for some reason they feel it needs to go that way.
But an increase of CCTV cameras to the area and a partnership with the City Save program is hoping to catch anyone trying to push more trolleys overboard.
We do have that ability to use CCTV footage to find out exactly where these trolleys might be disappearing to.
This wharf is buzzing with activity in the warmer months, usually with children jumping off into the water. But with the trolleys posing a safety hazard, the council says plunging off the edge is off limits.
What we don't want is someone actually going over and landing in a trolley. So we've got to make sure that we take all the right safety precautions.
Conversations are underway with big retailers about the removal of their submerged property, although no timeline has been set. It is likely a crane and divers will be needed for the rescue operation. Garth Burley, Southern Cross News.
A man's attempt to allegedly rob a Newtown pharmacy has backfired after he collapsed unconscious. The man allegedly threatened workers with a firearm and demanded that he be granted access to over-the-desk prescription medication. It's alleged the 43-year-old man from Wallaroo promptly consumed the drugs and passed out, giving staff an opportunity to escape. He was taken to the Wallaroo Hospital, where he remains under police guard. SA farmers battling devastating dry conditions will get extra state government support. It follows news the state's grain crop will be significantly lower compared to last year. John Hunt has more.
We all know how horrendous conditions have been for some farmers in this region, with many battling the driest conditions in years. This looks set to be reflected in the state's grain tonnage, with the forecast looking grim. The state government today has significantly downgraded the amount of grain expected after harvest. They're predicting to take in around 5.7 million tonnes, with a farm gate value of around $1.7 billion. It's well down on last year's haul of 7.9 million tonnes. In a statement, Minister Tim Whetstone says the revised figure is due to the lack of rain received over winter, which has hampered crops in parts of the state. Parts of the northern EP and Murray Mallee have been parched, with very little rain received on top of warm conditions. Meanwhile, new measures have also been put in place to support farmers through the dry spell. A fodder register has been constructed, with an audit to also take place in the near future. And extra workshops will be provided to farmers on animal nutrition and soil erosion. Meanwhile, SA Health will also implement extra health and wellbeing services in vulnerable regions. And the National Drought Coordinator will visit the state tomorrow to assess the situation. Major General Stephen Day will meet with Minister Whetstone and other key stakeholders.
Those wishing to voice their views on the proposed national nuclear waste facility for the region will have more time to do so, with the federal government extending the acceptance period for submissions. Submissions can now be made until the community consultation ends and may be used by government to gauge the town's opinion on the facility. For more information, visit radioactivewaste.gov.au. It's understood the company overseeing the Bungala solar farm, Greenlight, is holding crisis talks over the electrical contract to the 275 megawatt project. It comes after contractor Keatley Electrical forced the site to suspend electrical operations on Friday by withdrawing around 70 of its workers. The workers did return to work over the weekend, but it's believed another company could step in to fulfil the obligations of the contract. South Australian Senator Tim Storer visited Port Lincoln today to meet with local industry groups about how to protect the Great Australian Bight. It's all in a bid to make changes to the coast's environmental protection.
A senator's bid to help Port Lincoln stakeholders protect the Great Australian Bight.
I thought as a senator for South Australia, it's important to come out and hear from many of the groups.
Of those groups, Senator Storer met with various fisheries, community businesses, tourism operators and more, with key stakeholders hoping to shine a light on the facts.
We're trying to tell as many people as we can about the issues, but outline the actual facts of the situation. It can't be about emotion.
And says it should be an easy decision for state and the federal government to make.
We're saying to government is don't put that at risk by just a one-off opportunity for an extractive resource that won't be there in 25 years.
Senator Storer is hoping to make changes to the Bight's protection at a federal level.
I've been working in terms of a proposed draft to the Environment Protection Biodiversity Conservation Act, which would make a wider process of review.
With a focus to shift the environmental responsibility away from NOPSEMA and into the hands of the Environmental Minister, a move welcomed by local industries.
We would obviously rather the Parliament itself made the big decisions. And this is one of the jewels of the earth, the Great Australian Bight. To put that at risk and put at risk thousands, tens of thousands of sustainable long-term jobs, that's a pretty big call.
Casey Treloar, Southern Cross News.
Still to come tonight, we take a look inside the walls of Port Pirie's soon-to-be-completed multi-million-dollar sports precinct, and Whyalla to hold a major model railway exhibition next month. Those stories and more coming up next. Hello again. Broken Hill Police are cracking down on drink drivers after a number of incidents in recent weeks. Patrick Reinke has the details.
RBT means you need a plan B.
So there's no excuse for drink driving.
With summer weather fast approaching, an ice-cold bevy can really hit the spot. But Broken Hill Police say if you're going to have a drink, don't get behind the wheel.
Look, we've had quite a few drink drivers going around town at the last couple of weeks this month. We've had 8 this month charged so far. 7 of them were for mid-range and 1 was for low-range, including a P-plater that was mid-range over the weekend.
But officers are also on the lookout for vehicle defects after one car was stopped 4 times. It all started when the driver was caught at an RBT for not displaying his P-plates.
The police have issued him a ticket for not having his P-plates on. They then inspected the vehicle and found it had a number of defects, including a seatbelt not working, window not operating, the vehicle battery was not secured properly and a door handle missing.
3 hours later, a different man was caught driving the car and given a ticket. But it didn't end there.
At about 1 o'clock that morning, the same man was again seen driving the vehicle and he was again issued with another infringement notice for driving the vehicle while it was on a defect.
Inspector Smith says silly decisions like these can result in big fines. She hopes locals can be more careful on the roads this summer, especially with school holidays starting next week. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Port Pirie has been counting down the days until the grand opening of its multi-million-dollar sports precinct, and Southern Cross News has been granted a special sneak peek inside the walls of the exciting new facilities.
A state-of-the-art facility, almost complete. Port Pirie's sporting precinct has reached another milestone, with the final touches being made to its interior, and bit by bit it's starting to take shape.
Pirie West Oval is a multi-purpose field. It's got a full-size soccer pitch measuring 64 metres by 100 metres, incorporating 2 third pitches for cricket, football oval and dedicated baseball diamond up in the northeast corner.
Outside the sporting field is also getting closer to being finalised, and athletes can expect quite the show with the inclusion of a large digital screen. Inside is just as impressive, with the new facilities offering a shared space to be enjoyed by all sporting codes.
It's capable of holding over 200 people. And we're ideally looking for it to be used for functions, events.
Across the road, and the new aquatic centre is coming along swimmingly, housing an indoor slide for the kids and private change rooms. The new 17-metre long pool will be a splash with the locals, giving them the luxury to avoid the elements from outside. People can also work up a sweat in the new squash courts and gymnasium. The complex is on track to be completed by December of 2018. Dominic Beaton, Southern Cross News.
Well, Wailers Model Railway Society is turning 50 this year and the public is being invited to help celebrate the milestone next month. It'll hold an exhibition with clubs from as far away as Victoria to join the festivities.
Jeff Buckland bought his first model railway set in 1963, and 5 decades on, his passion for all things trains is going strong. He's the president of the local Model Railway Society, which this year is marking its golden anniversary. Jeff says it helps keep his body and mind on track.
You're using skills that you don't normally use, making your own locomotives or making your own carriages.
It's a small club, but it's still chugging along after 50 years. The society is set to celebrate the milestone next month, with its first exhibition since the year 2000 at Samaritan College, and they'll be joined by around 100 enthusiasts from as far away as Victoria.
15 models, some very large ones. The biggest ones in South Australia are coming. We filled the stadium.
Locals are also invited to join in the fun on the day.
That's a lot of time with kids in pushes, but the kids themselves are the ones who don't generally want to leave.
Jeff says they didn't expect so many clubs to make the trip, and it'll be a boost for Whyalla, with many of the visitors keen to explore the city and its surroundings.
And a lot of people want to come up because they also want to have a look around Whyalla and just see what's here.
The exhibition will take place on the weekend of the 27th and 28th of October. John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
Future sequels to action blockbuster Mad Max Fury Road look in doubt as an ongoing legal stoush threatens the post-apocalyptic film series. It's bad news for the Silverton community after director George Miller expressed interest in filming the sequel in the region.
2015's Mad Max Fury Road was a critical and commercial success. It won 6 Oscars and raked in nearly $400 million at the worldwide box office. 2 years ago, director George Miller said he was working on sequels, and even better, the Far West region was his preferred shooting location. But since then, Miller and his production company have been in court after filing a suit against distributor Warner Brothers.
I really hope that it doesn't damage the relationship between the two of them, because to have a production of that stature certainly come back to this region would be incredible.
Miller claims Warner Brothers allegedly refused to pay his production company a $7 million bonus for delivering Fury Road under budget. Warner Brothers claims the movie did go over budget and won't pay. The lawsuit has delayed the production of a sequel to Fury Road, which Miller had reportedly already written.
At the moment, we're kind of in limbo. We don't know what's happening, so we're just having to wait and see.
Fury Road was set to be filmed in the Silverton region. Crews were even in town for 3 months of pre-production. However, heavy rainfall turned the landscape to green and filming was moved to Africa. Mr. Bennett hopes a sequel will still happen.
Fingers crossed we might get another production back here, providing that they can sort this ongoing problem out at the moment with the bonus that George is supposed to be getting.
In Silverton, Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll bring you all the action from the Port Lincoln Football Grand Final. And in the weather, it's going to feel more like summer over the next few days. I'll have all the local weather details next. Welcome back. Well, it was a big weekend for football in Port Lincoln with the grand final clash between Waybacks and Tasmans. But Tasmans proved too strong for last year's premiers. Casey Trelaw has more.
The hottest game of 2018 attracted more than 3,000 spectators here at Centenary Oval, and it certainly was a thrilling grand final contest between the Roosters and the Demons. Tasmans took control of the game early in the first term with 5 big goals. Waybacks coach Matt Goodwin put the pressure on the boys to perform in the second quarter, and they answered with a strong performance up forward from Jonty Seal. But Tasmans retained their lead by 15 points at the main break. The third term saw strong contested footy from the Roosters and extended the lead by 26 points. In the final quarter, it started off with Jonty Seal kicking his third goal for Waybacks, but Tasman's midfield proved too efficient. An unfortunate injury saw Carl Semler taken off, but that didn't stir Tasman's, with forwards Brent Harris and Ben Daniels adding more goals to the scoreboard, leaving the Roosters to claim the final margin by more than 6 goals. For first-year coach Boyd McCurry, the grand final win was made all the sweeter, winning best on ground.
A bit of a surreal feeling. To be out, the opportunity to coach these boys has been outstanding. So, yeah, I couldn't be prouder of them, and yeah, it was terrific.
The boys sang the song with pride. And the celebrations were still going today. The day also saw well-deserved wins to Marble Range in the reserves, under-17s and under-13s, and to Waybacks in the under-15s finals. But the big congratulations goes to Tasman's on taking home the 2018 Grand Final Shield.
What a game. Well, now it's time to take a look at what's happening in the weather. But first, thanks to Heidi for sending in this gorgeous pic of Tumby Bay Jetty. Don't you just want to have a swim in that crystal clear water? Well, if you have a weather pic for us, send it in to localnews@sea.com.au. We love getting them. Well, it was a lovely sunny day to start the working week today. 25 was the top for Port Augusta. On the satellite, bright cloud crossing the southeast in a jet stream is not producing any rain, and skies are generally clear elsewhere. Taking a look at the waters for your Tuesday, easterly shifting southeasterly winds up to 20 knots, seas at 1.5 metres with a south-southwesterly swell, and the full harvest moon rises this evening. Well, we'll see more sunny skies tomorrow, warming up slightly in most centres too. Port Augusta and Woodner heading for a top of 27 degrees, 23 the max for Whyalla and Cleve, and 24 the top for Broken Hill and Port Pirie. Looking ahead to the rest of the week, and we'll see a mix of sunshine and cloud on Wednesday, a warm 30 the top for Woodner. There's the chance of some much needed rain on Thursday as temps cool down into the high teens too, and it'll cool off a little more for Friday as well, a cloudy one for Cleve and Woodner. Well, it's certainly starting to feel like summer is around the corner. The mercury is set to rise into the 30s for Port Augusta on Wednesday, and temps will drop to end the week. Fine conditions on Thursday, 20 the top for Whyalla, and a cloudy end to the week in all centres here. And lastly, warming up on Wednesday, 29 the top in Port Pirie, the chance of some showers on Thursday, and that cloud cover will creep back in to end the week, 15 the top for Clare, and 21 the max for Broken Hill on Friday. Well, it's good to see some centres will see a bit of rain this week. And that's all the local news this Monday. Thanks for your company. From the team, good night.